1 month had passed since the fight in the arena. 1 month since everyone learned the truth about Yuna. 1 month of change. The corridors were different now. When Yuna walked through them, students moved out of her way. Not from fear, exactly. More like respect. The kind of respect you show to a storm or a mountain. Something powerful that deserves space. Even the Volcari avoided her. Torak and his friends had left the university quietly, returning to Velkar Prime with their pride broken. No one talked about them anymore. They were forgotten. Yuna sat in the cafeteria at her usual spot. But today, she was not alone. Minho sat across from her, eating something green and strange. Hannah sat beside her, drinking a warm cup of alien tea. Even Kira was there, sitting at the end of the table, still trying to understand the small human who had defeated her so easily. "I still do not understand," Kira said. "How are you so fast? So strong? You look so normal." Yuna almost smiled. "Humans are different from other species. We do not look dangerous. We have no claws, no fangs, no armor. But that is what makes us dangerous. Our enemies never see us coming." "That is terrifying," Kira said. "Yes," Yuna agreed. "It is," Hana laughed. "You could at least pretend to be modest. Modesty does not change the truth. I am what I am. I spent my whole life hiding it. I did not want to hide anymore." Minho put down his food and looked at Yuna with warm eyes. "I think that is good. You should not have to pretend to be something you are not. None of us should." The conversation continued, light and easy. They talked about classes and teachers and the latest gossip. They laughed at bad jokes and complained about homework. They were just students having lunch together, but Yuna felt something she had not felt in years. Maybe ever. She felt like she belonged. Later that day, Yuna was called to the administration building. The dean of the university wanted to see her. This had been expected. After everything that happened, the university needed to decide what to do with her. The dean was a being from the planet Neos. He was old, with wrinkled blue skin and eyes that had seen centuries of history. His name was Chancellor Volus, and he was considered one of the wisest beings in the galaxy. "Please sit," he said, as Yuna entered his office. The office was large and full of strange objects from many worlds. There were books made of light, statues that moved on their own, and windows that showed different planets instead of the sky outside. Yuna sat in the chair across from the Chancellor. She waited. "You have caused quite a stir, young human," Chancellor Volus said. His voice was gentle but serious. "Many species have complained about you. They say you are dangerous, that you should not be allowed to stay here." "They are right," Yuna said. "I am dangerous. But being dangerous is not the same as being evil." The Chancellor smiled slightly. "A wise answer. Tell me, what do you want? Why are you here at this university?" Yuna thought about the question. She thought about her past, her training, her missions. She thought about the blood on her hands and the nightmares that still woke her at night. "I want to be more than what they made me," she said finally. "On Earth, I was a weapon, a tool. I had no choices. They told me who to fight and who to kill. I did what they said because I did not know anything else." She looked at the Chancellor with clear eyes. "But then the wars ended. The mission stopped, and I was left with nothing. No purpose, no identity, just skills I did not want and memories I could not forget. So I came here to learn, to grow, to find out who I am when I am not fighting." The Chancellor was quiet for a long time. He studied Yuna with his ancient eyes. "I have read your file," he said. "The classified one. I know what you have done, what you are capable of. By all logic, I should send you away. You are a danger to every student on this campus." Yuna nodded. She had expected this. She was ready to leave. But I will not. Yuna blinked. What? This university exists to help beings grow and change, to become better than they were before. If I turned away everyone who had darkness in their past, I would have very few students left. He stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the twin suns were setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. You fought only when attacked. You showed mercy when you could have shown death. You protected yourself without destroying others. These are not the actions of a monster, young human. These are the actions of someone trying to be good. He turned back to Yuna. I am letting you stay. But I have one condition. What is it? I want you to teach. There is a combat class for students who want to learn self-defense. The current teacher has been asking for help. I think you could do much good there. Yuna was surprised. You want me to teach? I want you to share your skills in a positive way, to help others protect themselves, to show that strength does not have to mean violence. Yuna thought about it. Teaching, helping others, using her abilities for something good instead of destruction. It felt strange. Foreign, but also right. I will do it, she said. The Chancellor smiled. Good. Now go. I believe you have friends waiting for you. Yuna left the office and walked out into the evening air. The campus was quiet now. Most students had gone to their rooms or the recreation centers. The paths were empty and peaceful. She found her friends in the garden. Minho, Hana, and Kira were sitting under the purple tree where she had talked with Hana that first time. They looked up as she approached. What happened? Minho asked. Are you in trouble? Yuna sat down on the bench. She looked at her friends, at their worried faces and hopeful eyes. She felt that warmth in her chest again, that feeling of belonging. I am staying, she said, and I am going to be a teacher. Hannah's face lit up. A teacher? That is wonderful. Kira grinned. Does this mean I can get private lessons? I want to learn how you beat me. Minho just smiled. He reached over and put his hand on Yuna's shoulder. I told you, he said. You are special. They sat together as the suns finished setting and the stars came out. The sky of Kilos was beautiful at night, filled with colors that Earth's sky never had. Yuna looked up at it and felt something she had not felt in a very long time. Peace. She was still the most dangerous predator in the university, maybe in the whole galaxy. Her skills had not changed. Her training had not been erased. She could still kill in seconds if she needed to, but she did not need to. Not anymore. She had found something more valuable than power or fear. She had found friends, purpose, a future. The quiet girl who sat in corners and read books was still quiet. She still read books. But now she was not alone. Now she was part of something bigger than herself, and that made all the difference. Across the campus, in the medical center, Torak's empty bed was being cleaned by robots. The Valkyrie warrior had left Kilos that morning, returning to his home planet in shame. Before he left, he had written something in his journal. A warning to his people. Do not underestimate humans, he wrote. They look weak. They look soft. But inside them is something dangerous. Something that Earth put there through millions of years of death and survival. They are not prey. They are predators. The most merciless predators in existence. And the quiet ones are the most dangerous of all. Back in the garden, Yuna laughed at something Minho said. It was a small laugh, barely more than a breath. But it was real. It was hers. She was not just a weapon anymore. She was not just a killer. She was Yuna, student, teacher, friend, and she was finally, after all these years, free. The stars shone above her. The future spread out before her. And for the first time in her life, she was not afraid of what came next. She was ready. News travels fast in the university. even a galactic one. Within 2 days, everyone knew something had happened to the Valkyrie. Within 3 days, everyone knew a human was involved. Within a week, the whole campus was talking about YUNA. The stories grew with each telling. Some said she had fought 10 Valkyrie at once. Some said she had used no hands at all, just her mind. Some said she was a demon from Earth's ancient legends, sent to punish those who disrespected humans. The truth was simpler, but somehow more frightening. Minho found Yuna in the library, sitting in her usual spot. He walked up to her and sat down across from her, his face full of worry and confusion. "Everyone is talking about you," he said. "I know," Yuna replied without looking up from her tablet. "The Valkyrie are telling people you attacked them without reason. They say you are dangerous. They want you removed from the university." Yuna finally looked up. "They attacked me first. I defended myself. I know that. You know that. But the administration is asking questions. They want to talk to you." Yuna nodded slowly. "I expected this." "It is fine." Minho leaned closer. "Yuna, please tell me the truth. Who are you? I have heard things. Rumors. People say you are some kind of soldier. Some kind of weapon." Yuna was quiet for a long time. She looked at Minho, at his kind face and worried eyes. He had been her friend since she arrived. He had never asked for anything. He had just been there, trying to help her feel welcome. "Yes," she said. "I was trained by Earth's military. I did things that I cannot talk about. Bad things. Necessary things. But I am not that person anymore. I came here to start over." Minho's eyes were wide. "Why did you not tell me?" "Because I did not want you to look at me the way everyone else does. Like I am a monster. Like I am something to fear. I do not fear you, Yuna." "You should." Minho shook his head. "No, I know you. You are not a monster. You are just a person who went through terrible things. And now you are trying to heal. That takes more courage than any fight." Yuna felt something warm in her chest. Something she had not felt in a long time. It took her a moment to recognize it. Gratitude, friendship, maybe even love. "Thank you, Minho," she said softly. Their conversation was interrupted by a loud sound. The library doors burst open, and a group of students walked in. They were not there to study. They were there to see Yuna. The group was mixed. Valkyrie, Rullos, beings from a dozen different worlds. They stood in a half circle, staring at the small human girl. One of them stepped forward. It was a female from the planet Turos. She had silver skin and 4 eyes. Her name was Kira, and she was one of the most popular students at the university. "So this is the famous human," Kira said. Her voice was cold. "The one who thinks she can hurt whoever she wants." Yuna stood up slowly. She was calm. She was always calm. "I did not start that fight," she said. "I finished it. The Valkyrie say different. The Valkyrie are liars." A murmur went through the crowd. No one talked about the Valkyrie like that. They were warriors. They had honor. To call them liars was a serious insult. Kira smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Prove it," she said. "Fight me. Show everyone what you can really do. Unless you are scared." Yuna looked at Kira. She studied her body, her stance, her eyes. She saw a young woman who wanted to be important, who wanted attention, who did not understand what she was asking for. "I do not want to fight you," Yuna said, "because you know you will lose. Because I do not want to hurt you." Kira laughed. The crowd laughed with her. "Hurt me? You are half my size. I have trained in combat since I was a child. You are just a weak human from a primitive planet." Yuna sighed. She looked at Minho, who was watching with fear in his eyes. She looked at the crowd, at their mocking faces and eager eyes. They wanted a show. They wanted to see the human put in her place. They did not understand. "Fine," Una said. "If you want to fight, we will fight. But not here. There is a combat arena in the recreation center. We will go there." Word spread even faster now. By the time they reached the arena, half the university had gathered to watch. The stands were full of students from every planet. They cheered and shouted, placing bets on who would win. Almost everyone bet on Kira. The arena was a large circle with soft ground to prevent serious injury. Force fields surrounded it to protect the audience. In the center, two fighters could face each other in official combat. Kira stood on one side. She was tall and strong, her silver skin glowing under the lights. She looked confident, powerful, ready. Una stood on the other side. She looked the same as always, small, quiet, unremarkable. Hannah sat in the stands, watching with fear in her heart. She knew what was about to happen. She knew what Una could do. But she also knew that Una did not want this. The referee, a robot with a calm voice, announced the rules. No weapons. No killing. The fight would end when one fighter gave up or could not continue. "Are you ready?" The robot asked. Kira nodded. "Ready to show this human where she belongs." Una said nothing. She just took a breath. The bell rang. Kira charged forward. She was fast for her size. Her arms were long and strong. She threw a punch that could break stone. It hit nothing. Una was not there. She had moved in the instant before the punch landed. She was behind Kira now, standing still as if she had never moved at all. Kira spun around, confused. She threw another punch, then another, then 3 more in rapid succession. Each one missed. Each one hit air. The crowd went silent. They had never seen anything like this. Una was not fighting back. She was just moving, flowing like water around every attack. "Stand still!" Kira screamed. She was getting frustrated, angry, sloppy. "I do not want to hurt you," Una said again. "Then stop moving and fight me." Una stopped. She stood perfectly still in the center of the arena. Her eyes met Kira's. "Okay," she said. "I will fight you now." Kira smiled and charged one more time. This time, she was sure she would land her hit. She was wrong. Una moved in a blur. She stepped inside Kira's guard, grabbed her arm, and twisted her body. Kira flew through the air and landed hard on the ground. Before she could get up, Una was on top of her, one hand pressed against her throat. "Yield," Una said. Kira struggled. She was bigger, stronger, heavier, but she could not move. Una's grip was like iron. "Yield," Una said again. Kira looked into Una's eyes. She saw something there that made her blood freeze. Not anger, not hate, just emptiness. The eyes of someone who had seen death many times. Who had caused death many times. Who could cause it again right now if she wanted. "I yield," Kira whispered. Una let go and stood up. She offered her hand to help Kira to her feet. After a moment, Kira took it. The crowd was completely silent. Then, slowly, someone started to clap. Then another. Then more. Soon the whole arena was applauding. Una did not smile. She did not celebrate. She just walked out of the arena, past the cheering crowd, past the shocked faces, back toward her quiet life. Minho met her at the door. He was smiling. "I knew it," he said. "I always knew you were special." Una looked at him. "I am not special. I am just different." "Same thing," Minho said. They walked out together, leaving the noise behind. The truth was out now. Everyone knew who Una was. Everyone knew what she could do. Things would never be the same again. But maybe that was okay. Thought maybe being known was better than hiding forever. Hana could not sleep that night. Something about the way Yuna had looked at her stayed in her mind. Those eyes. Those cold, empty eyes. They did not belong to a normal student. The next morning, Hana went to the medical center. She told herself she was just curious. She told herself it did not matter. But she had to know what happened in that corridor. The medical center was a large white building with blue lights. Aliens of all kinds walked in and out, some with wounds, some with strange illnesses. The staff were mostly automated machines, but a few living doctors worked there too. Hana found what she was looking for in the emergency ward. 3 Valkyrie lay in beds, their gray bodies covered in bandages. Torak's hand was wrapped in a healing cast. Ven had marks on his throat. Grish was still sleeping, his face peaceful but somehow sad. A doctor with 6 legs walked up to Hana. His name tag said, "Dr. Merciless. Can I help you?" The doctor asked, "What happened to them?" Hana pointed at the VEL carry. Dr. Merciless looked at his tablet. They claimed they fell down some stairs. Very clumsy, these Valkyrie. 3 of them falling at the same time. There was something in the doctor's voice. He did not believe it either. "Do you know the truth?" Hana asked. Dr. Merciless looked at her carefully. He saw that she was human. His many eyes blinked. "The injuries are not from a fall," he said quietly. "These are combat injuries. Someone broke Torak's thumb in a specific way. It is a technique. A human technique, actually. From a martial art called Jiu-Jitsu." Hana's heart beat faster. "A human did this?" "I believe so. But the Valkyrie will not say. They seem afraid." Afraid. The word echoed in Hana's mind. She had never seen a Valkyrie afraid of anything. They were warriors. They lived for battle. What could make them afraid? She thanked the doctor and left the medical center. Her mind was racing. There were only 5 humans at this university. Herself, Minho, a boy named Daeho who studied plants, a girl named Jisoo who studied music, and Yuna. Of all of them, only Yuna had been in that corridor last night. Hana decided to find answers. She went to the university's central database. Every student had a file. Most of the information was public, things like name, home planet, area of study. But some information was locked. Classified. Hana was good with computers. Her father had been an engineer. He had taught her many things before he died. Things that were not exactly legal. She found a quiet room in the technology building and started working. It took her 2 hours to break through the first layer of security. Another hour to reach the classified files. She did not know what she was looking for, but she knew she would find something. When she opened Yuna's file, her blood went cold. Name: Kim Yuna. Age: 22 Earth years. Home planet: Earth. Area of study: xenobiology. Galactic history status: active classification, restricted level 7. Level 7. That was the highest classification in the galactic system. It was used for weapons, for dangerous criminals, for things that could destroy planets. Hana kept reading. Background: subject was recruited by Earth's Special Operations Division at age 12. Training included combat, survival, infiltration, and psychological warfare. Subject completed 47 missions between ages 16 and 21. Mission details are classified. Subject was released from active duty and enrolled in Nexus Galactic University at request of Galactic Council. Purpose: integration and observation. Hana's hands were shaking. 47 missions. Starting at 16. What kind of missions did a 16-year-old girl go on? There was more? Much more. Lists of skills. Combat ratings. Psychological evaluations. One line stood out. Subject has demonstrated the ability to kill targets in 0.3 seconds or less. Subject is classified as an Apex level threat. Apex level, the same classification given to warships, to biological weapons, to things that could end civilizations. Hana closed the file. She sat back in her chair and stared at the ceiling. Her whole body felt strange, numb, like she had just learned that the sun was actually a bomb waiting to explode. Yuna was not a student. Yuna was a weapon that Earth had built and trained and sent out into the galaxy. A weapon that was now sitting in their library, reading books and eating lunch alone. Hana thought about all the times she had seen Yuna, the quiet girl who never talked, the small figure in the corner, the shadow that moved without sound. She had always thought Yuna was shy, scared, weak. She was none of those things. She was a predator, the most dangerous kind, the kind that hid in plain sight, the kind that watched and waited and studied before striking. Hana left a technology building and walked across campus. She did not know where she was going. She just needed to walk, to think, to process what she had learned. She found herself at the garden in the center of campus. It was a beautiful place with plants from 100 worlds. There were flowers that glowed blue and trees that sang when the wind blew. Students came here to relax and study. Yuna was there. She sat on a bench under a purple tree, reading her tablet as always. She looked so small, so normal. Just a girl enjoying the garden. Hana walked toward her. She did not know why. She should have been scared. She should have run away. But something pulled her forward. Yuna looked up as Hana approached. Her eyes were the same as always, calm, empty, watching. "Hello, Hana," Yuna said. "You know my name?" "I know everyone's name. It is important to know the people around you." Hana sat down on the bench. Her heart was pounding, but she forced herself to stay calm. "I know who you are," Hana said quietly. Yuna did not react. She just kept looking at Hana with those empty eyes. "What do you think, I read your file, the classified one. I know about your training, your missions, your classification." Yuna was silent for a long moment. Then she closed her tablet and turned to face Hana fully. "You are very clever," Yuna said. "Not many people could break through that security. I am impressed. Are you going to hurt me for knowing?" Yuna tilted her head. It was a small movement, but somehow it looked dangerous, like a snake deciding whether to strike. "No," she said finally. "I do not hurt innocent people. Not anymore. But you did before?" "I did what I was trained to do, what I was built to do. But I am trying to be something different now. That is why I came here, to learn how to be human again." Hana felt tears in her eyes. She did not know why. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was sadness. Maybe it was both. "Why are you telling me this?" Yuna looked at the garden around them, at the glowing flowers and the singing trees, at the students laughing and talking in the distance. "Because I am tired of hiding," she said. "I have hidden my whole life. I was a shadow, a tool, a weapon with no feelings and no choices. But I do not want to be that anymore. I want to be a person, a real person with friends and feelings and a future." She looked back at Hana. "I am not asking you to trust me. I am not asking you to be my friend. I am just asking you to see me, the real me, not the weapon, not the predator, just Yuna." Hana did not know what to say. She looked at the small girl beside her. She thought about the file, the missions, the kills. But she also thought about the lonely figure in the cafeteria, the quiet student in the library, the girl who just wanted to learn. "I see you," Hana said finally. "I see you, Yuna." For the first time since Hana had known her, Yuna smiled. It was a small smile, barely there, but it was real. "Thank you," Yuna whispered. They sat together in the garden as the twin suns moved across the sky. They did not talk much. They did not need to. Something had changed between them. Something had grown. It was not friendship yet. But it could be. And for Yuna, that was enough. 3 days passed after the cafeteria incident. 3 quiet days where nothing happened. Yuna went to her classes. She studied in the library. She ate alone. Everything was normal, but Torak was watching. Torak was waiting. The Valkyrie warrior had been insulted. In his culture, when you marked prey, you had to take it. If you did not, you were weak. And Torak was not weak. He had killed his first beast at age 10. He had won 12 honor fights before coming to this university. His family name meant breaker of bones. In the old tongue, he would not be ignored by a small human girl. It was evening on the 4th day. The twin suns had already set, and the corridors of the university were mostly empty. Most students were in their rooms or at the recreation centers. The halls were quiet and dark. Yuna walked alone. She had stayed late in the library, reading about the history of the Valkyrie Wars. She found it interesting how they fought. They used strength and speed. They attacked head-on, believing that direct combat was the only honorable way. They never learned to be clever. Yuna turned a corner and stopped. 3 large shapes blocked the corridor. Torak stood in the center. Ven was on his left. Grish was on his right. All 3 had their 4 arms crossed. All 3 were smiling with their sharp teeth. "Hello, little human," Torak said. His voice echoed in the empty hall. "We've been waiting for you." Yuna looked at them. Her face showed nothing. No fear. No surprise. Nothing. "Please move," she said quietly. "I want to go to my room." Torak laughed. The sound was like rocks breaking. "She speaks. I was starting to think you were mute, little prey." "I am not prey," Yuna said. "Yes, you are." Torak took a step forward. He was so big that his shadow covered Yuna completely. "On Velkar Prime, we hunt things like you for sport. Soft, weak, easy to break." Yuna did not step back. She did not move at all. "I will ask one more time," she said. "Please move." Ven laughed. "Or what? What will you do, tiny human? Cry? Run? Beg? I do not do any of those things," Yuna said. Torak reached down with one of his massive hands. He grabbed Yuna's shoulder. His grip was strong enough to crush metal. "You know what I think," he said, leaning close. His breath smelled like rotting meat. "I think we should teach you a lesson. Show you what happens to weak creatures who think they belong here with us." Yuna looked at the hand on her shoulder. Then she looked up at Torak's face. "You should not have touched me," she said. It happened fast. Faster than anyone could see. Yuna's hand shot up and grabbed Torak's thumb. She bent it backward in one quick motion. The joint snapped with a loud crack. Before Torak could even scream, Yuna had already moved. She ducked under his arm, spinning her body like water flowing around a rock. Her elbow struck the back of his knee. The leg folded. Torak began to fall. Ven reacted first. He swung all 4 of his fists at Yuna, but she was not there anymore. She had dropped to the ground and swept his legs out from under him. As he fell, her palm struck his throat. Not hard enough to kill, just hard enough to stop his breathing for a moment. Grish was the smartest. He tried to run. He turned and took 2 steps before Yuna caught him. She jumped onto his back, wrapped her arm around his neck, and squeezed. His gray skin turned blue. Then he collapsed. The whole fight took 4 seconds. Yuna stood in the middle of 3 fallen Valkyrie warriors. She had not dropped her tablet. She had not even breathed hard. Her uniform was still perfectly clean. She looked down at Torak. He was holding his broken thumb. His face twisted in pain and shock. He could not understand what had happened. How had this tiny creature defeated him? Defeated all three of them? On Earth, Yuna said quietly, we have a saying, do not judge a book by its cover. Do you know what that means? Torak could not answer. He was in too much pain. It means, Yuna continued, that you cannot know something just by looking at it. You looked at me and saw a small, weak human. You did not see what I really am. She bent down so her face was close to his. I am from a death world, Torak. My planet tried to kill us every day for millions of years. The heat tried to kill us. The cold tried to kill us. The animals tried to kill us. The diseases tried to kill us. Even our own planet's gravity tried to crush us. Our eyes were cold. So cold. But we did not die. We survived. We learned. We became the most dangerous things on our world. And then we became the most dangerous things off our world, too. Torak stared at her with new eyes. For the first time in his life, he felt real fear. This was not a weak creature. This was something else. Something his instincts told him to run from. The gravity on Velkar Prime is 1/3 of Earth's gravity, Yuna said. That means my body is built to carry 3 times the weight you carry. Every day of my life, I have trained in conditions that would break you. She stood up and straightened her uniform. I did not want to hurt you. I came to this university to learn, not to fight. But you would not leave me alone. So I had to teach you a lesson instead. Footsteps echoed in the corridor. Someone was coming. Yuna picked up her tablet and looked at the 3 Valkyrie one more time. Tell anyone what you want, she said. Tell them you slipped. Tell them you fell. I do not care. But know this, if you come near me again, I will not be so gentle. She walked away, her footsteps silent on the metal floor. Ven had recovered enough to speak. He looked at Torak with wide eyes. What? What was that? He whispered. Torak did not answer. He just stared at the corner where Yuna had disappeared. His thumb was broken. His pride was broken. And deep inside, something else had broken too. He had thought he understood the universe. He had thought he knew who was strong and who was weak. He had thought humans were nothing. He was wrong. In another part of the university, a female student named Hana was walking toward the recreation center. She was human too, one of the 5 humans at the school. She had long hair and curious eyes. She heard the commotion from the corridor. She saw Yuna walking toward her, calm and quiet as always. Yuna? Hana said. Are you okay? I heard something. Yuna looked at her. For a moment, just a moment, there was something different in her eyes. Something sharp and dangerous. Then it was gone. I am fine, Yuna said. Some students fell down. They were clumsy. She walked past Hana and continued toward her room. Hana watched her go. She did not know what had happened. She did not know about the fight. But she felt something change in the air around Yuna. She did not know it yet, but she would learn the truth soon. Everyone would. The quiet girl was not just quiet. The quiet girl was a predator. And the galaxy was about to find out what that meant. The cafeteria of Nexus Galactic University was loud. Very loud. Students from over 200 different planets sat at long metal tables. They talked, laughed, and argued in dozens of languages. The universal translator chips in everyone's ears worked hard to keep up with the noise. In the far corner, near the window that showed the purple sky of planet Kilos, a small human girl sat alone. Her name was Yuna. She had short black hair and wore the simple gray uniform of the university. Her lunch tray had food she barely touched. She read from a tablet, her dark eyes moving slowly across the screen. Yuna was quiet. She was always quiet. In the 3 months since she arrived at the university, Most students had never heard her voice. Some thought she could not speak. Others thought she was scared. Many simply forgot she existed. The Valkyrie did not forget. The Valkyrie were a warrior species from the planet Valkar Prime. They were tall, almost 3 meters in height. Their skin was thick and gray like stone. They had 4 arms and sharp teeth. On their home planet, they were the top predators. They believed they were the strongest species in the galaxy. 3 Valkyrie. Students sat at a table in the center of the cafeteria. Their names were Torek, Ven, and Grish. They were looking at Yuna. "Look at the human," Torek said. His voice was deep like thunder. "So small. So weak. Why do they even allow these creatures here?" Ven laughed. It was an ugly sound. "I heard humans come from a death world. Can you believe that? These soft little things?" "Death world or not," Grish said, "she looks like prey to me." On the other side of the cafeteria, a human male named Minho watched the Valkyrie with worried eyes. He was tall for a human, with a kind face and messy hair. He was one of the few humans at the university, and he had tried many times to be friends with Yuna. Minho stood up and walked to Yuna's table. He sat down across from her. "Hey," he said softly, "those Valkyrie are looking at you again." Yuna did not look up from her tablet. She turned a page. "I know," she said. Her voice was quiet, almost a whisper. Minho leaned closer. "Should we report them? They have been watching you for weeks. It is making me nervous." For the first time, Yuna looked up. Her eyes met his. There was something in those eyes that Minho could not understand. They were calm, too calm, like a lake with no wind, like the sky before a storm. "Do not worry about me," Yuna said. "I am fine." Minho wanted to argue, but something in her voice stopped him. He had known Yuna for 3 months. In all that time, he had never seen her afraid. He had never seen her angry. He had never seen her show any strong emotion at all. It was strange. Minho had read about humans from Earth. He knew they came from a planet with high gravity, dangerous animals, and extreme weather. He knew that humans were classified as a Class 7 species, which meant they were considered potentially dangerous. But looking at Yuna, he found it hard to believe. She was so small, so quiet. She never talked to anyone. She never joined any activities. She just went to class, studied, and sat alone. "Why did you come here?" Minho asked suddenly. "To this university, I mean. You never talk about yourself." Yuna was silent for a long moment. Then she said, "I wanted to learn." "Learn what?" "Everything." It was not much of an answer, but Minho knew he would not get more. He sighed and looked back at the Valkyrie. They were still staring at Yuna. Torek made a gesture with one of his 4 hands. It was a Valkyrie sign that meant weak prey. Minho felt anger rise in his chest. "They think they are so tough. Just because they are big. Size does not matter," Yuna said. "What?" "On Earth, there is an animal called a mosquito. It is very small, smaller than my finger, but it has killed more humans than any other animal. Millions and millions of humans dead from one tiny creature." Minho stared at her. "That is." A strange thing to say, Yuna almost smiled. Almost. "I am just saying, the biggest is not always the most dangerous." The bell rang, signaling the end of lunch. Students began to stand and leave. The Valkyrie got up too, but not before Torek looked at Yuna one more time. He pointed at her with a clawed finger and drew it across his throat. A clear threat. Yuna saw it. She did nothing. She simply picked up her tablet and stood. "Be careful," Minho said as they walked to the door. "Please." "I am always careful," Yuna replied. They parted ways at the corridor. Minho went left toward the science building. Yuna went right toward the library. As she walked, her footsteps made no sound. She moved like a shadow, like smoke, like something that was there, but also not there. A professor from the planet Relos saw her pass. He was a tall being with blue skin and many eyes. His name was Professor Tal, and he taught galactic history. He watched Yuna walk by, and a chill went down his spine. He did not know why. She was just a small human girl. But something about the way she moved made him feel like he was being watched by something dangerous. Professor Tal had read the classified files on humans. He knew what they really were. He knew about Earth's bloody history. He knew about the wars, the hunting, the survival. He knew that humans had fought their way to the top of a death world's food chain, killing everything that stood in their way. The other species in the galaxy saw humans and thought they looked weak. They saw soft skin, no claws, no fangs, no armor. They did not understand. Humans did not need those things. Humans had something more dangerous. Humans could think. Humans could plan. Humans could wait. And when humans decided to act, they did not show mercy. Professor Tal watched Yuna disappear around the corner. He shook his head and walked away. He told himself he was being foolish. She was just a quiet girl, a student. Nothing more. But deep in his hearts, all three of them, he felt afraid. In the library, Yuna found her usual spot by the window. She sat down and opened her tablet. Outside, the purple sky of Kilos was turning orange as the twin suns began to set. She thought about Torek and his threat. She thought about his sharp teeth and his 4 arms. She thought about how easy it would be to hurt him, but not yet. Not now. Yuna was patient. She had learned patience in places far darker than this university. She had learned to wait, to watch, to study her prey before she struck. The Volcari thought she was weak. They thought she was scared. They did not know that back on Earth, Yuna had been something else entirely. Something the military had created. Something that had made generals lose sleep at night. They did not know that the quiet girl in the corner was the most dangerous predator in the entire university, and Yuna preferred it that way. She turned a page on her tablet and continued to read. The sun set outside. The library grew quiet, and somewhere in the darkness of her mind, a hunter waited.